That feeling when the first date ends and you both say, we should do this again, and you both know you never will.
I need compression socks, collagen boosters, and reading glasses. Nope, not feeling old at all.
And why should you? Ice cream trucks should not legally be allowed to play It's a Small World on repeat.
A cop yelled at me from a megaphone. A megaphone. Really, officer?
Really? Have such a good day. Welcome to Have Such a Good Day. Heather and I are so happy to see you, and we've missed you.
We've really missed you, and we are going to talk about this missing very thoroughly later in the show.
Yeah, and when I say hello, we've missed seeing your lovely faces. Well, some of you just listen to the show, so we can't see you and you can't see us, and that's all fine and good because I've got bags under my eyes. But for those of you who are watching the video version, a couple things have changed. Heather and I are not in the same room right now. We've got a new setup where we're both very YouTube star-esque, where we're both in front of our computers with our little webcams in some strange room of our cavernous apartment.
And I'm trying out this massive microphone to my right.
Yeah, Heather's been a real good sport, getting her system up and running, kind of replicating what I have. Mm-hmm. And this is a situation not only because we're no longer neighbors, boo-hoo, but also because our work situations have gotten extremely busy, which we told you at the end of episode 52. This is the way that the show is resurrected. We is risen. Woo-woo.
We're like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Or Jesus on Easter.
Yeah, pretty. I think that's a better analogy. It's only been, a month? But it feels like it doesn't feel too long. I'm actually surprised that I got my shit together as quickly as I did, honestly. But we did really miss you guys. We're glad to be back.
It felt like a long time to me, Heather. I was like, get your damn microphone.
I know.
Hold it if you have to. No,
you did say that actually.
Because I was like, that's in a pinch. You could just hold it. But I know how it is to completely change up a setup and have to buy stuff, and you're not used to things, and it is a bit of a process. What's really nice is that when Heather starts to expand her podcasting empire, the whole thing's all set up already.
Oh, it's so
this
great.
is just the beginning of a long discography of shows that will eventually launch into
especially when we get
podosphere.
Thousands of more patrons so that we can shoot more than one show a week and different shows. I mean, how awesome would that be if we did another show? One of our little, I don't remember the names that we came up with, but it was like a late night sultry show, and then there was
have
a good night, and
remember
all the
we
promised
the patrons 2 shows a week.
We
if we
did.
got, to a certain level. Listen, real quick, and we can't thank the patrons enough for being just patient and understanding that, life got a little complicated for us, but the show would go on, and we just needed a few weeks. But the fact that, we lost a few patrons, a few people kind of meandered off, and hopefully they'll come back, and they might not. But for the most part, everybody kind of stayed with us.
Most people stayed intact.
Stood their ground,
yeah.
And we really thank you for that. But as we have been mentioning as of late, we love our patrons. We do need more, and so that is our one true goal. 2 shows a week. I don't know. Maybe 2 shows a week is something that people don't really need. So we need to figure out. We're all going to put our heads together and get creative about how the show grows so that we're happy and you're happy and everybody feels like we're on the up and up.
100%.
100%.
Well put. Well,
so
any new
Go ahead.
Any new viewers, if you and listeners, if you don't even know what kind of show you're listening to here, we are the show that unpacks the absurdity of everyday life for your entertainment and our collective entertainment, if you will.
Yeah, we hope you're entertained, man, because we go through the ringer. what is our bonus topic? And by the way, if you're new to the show, or if you've kind of forgotten how this all works, bonus topic for patrons of the $5 per month tier or more, we have an extended show for you, and we like to tell you what the bonus topic is, so you know what to expect in about 45 minutes.
Yeah, and also I'll start posting polls so that you guys can actually vote for what we talk about. But since we've been in kind of a scramble, we decided we'd talk about and kind of unpack the things that we learned and missed while being on pause. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that.
Yeah, and think about what you've learned as well.
Yes.
Because there will be a test.
Yeah, like has this last month been a harder month because you haven't been having such a good day? I don't know. Maybe there's maybe you guys have some stories. Anyway, so that's later in the show, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah, and if that doesn't push you into being a patron, well, I don't know what will. What do you need us to do? Clean your floor?
Well, Sarah, why don't you tell us about your week? Maybe that'll convince them.
Yeah, we'll start with the week. Yeah, Heather and I kind of like to start out every show looking back on the last 7 days. Anything happen? Anything stick out? Well, this is kind of an interesting thing that I wanted to pass along because I want to make sure that nobody else is getting swindled. So there's a dating app called Bumble. Perhaps you've heard of it. All the dating apps have their little, like, here's how we're different than other dating apps. Bumble's twist is when you match with somebody, the female is the one who has to make the first move. I'm actually not sure how it works with female and female or male and male.
Oh, that's actually interesting. I've never thought of that.
But when it's female and male, yeah, I'd never thought about it.
God, I want to find out actually. I wonder if it's like, could it be like an age thing? Like someone who's like younger or older have
No, it probably just either party can.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
I don't know. That's
interesting.
actually a good question.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that it wouldn't support same-sex connections. Anyway, for my purposes, the man cannot say like, "Hey, how's it going?" first. I have to do it first. I actually don't like that about Bumble. Some women do. They feel like they're more in control. Some men have told me, "Oh, I like it because I know that she'll hit me up if she's interested." Like, sometimes you kind of like end up talking to somebody that you don't really have an interest in, and it just kind of gets away from you. Anyway, so Bumble, it's been installed on my iPhone for, I don't know, a couple years. And I forget about it. And then every once in a while, someone will mention the app and I'll go like, oh yeah, I have that. And then I'll see messages from people that I didn't respond to a year ago and I feel bad. And that's about all I do with Bumble. Well, yesterday, I got an email to whatever email I had signed up with the app with however long ago, and it was like, "Hey, we're so glad, like you're so popular on Bumble. Click here to see all the people who have already liked you and are hoping you'd like them back." They make it like they really pump you up, right? Because they want you to click. Somehow, in me doing that, and this was on my computer, it wasn't on my phone. Somehow, in me doing that, it took me to Bumble's web interface, which is whatever, and I like there was some kind of smoke and mirrors, and I clicked a button.
Excuse me.
That then subscribed me to Bumble Premium for $50.
Wait, and did you have your credit card looped in there?
No. Well, I mean, it's something that my Apple ID is linked to a credit card.
Shit.
So in the course of like me sort of not paying attention and Bumble trying to get me to do this without my consent by sending me a shady email, right? I signed up for premium. Now here's the weird thing is that I kind of noticed that something happened where I was like, premium, wait, I shouldn't have premium features. That's weird. So I quickly picked up my phone and looked in my subscription settings. Anybody who has an iPhone, you probably have been here once or twice. And I was like, oh yeah, that's weird. Unsubscribe. Like if there's some sort of like weird charge, I'll, figure that out later. But like I've never paid for anything on Bumble.
Sure.
So this morning I wake up and I look at my email, and sure enough, there's a message from Apple saying like, thank you for your purchase. Like here's your subscription receipt for $50. So I was like, what? So I go back to my phone and I look at it and I'm like, what is happening here? Luckily, and I think it probably has to do with like maybe because it was in a 24-hour period, or maybe the period is longer, it's probably a short period. Apple refunded because I sent like I would like to request a refund. This is bad news. Something bad happened, and they refunded me instantly. Like it didn't have to go through some like help desk ticket thing.
I wonder if it happens a lot.
I sort of assumed. I think it probably does.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably enough people who within a day or two. Again, I don't actually know what the time period is, but I know that this all happened to me within 24 hours. They'll probably just be like, yeah, they made a mistake. And the reason I know this is because there's another app that I accidentally paid premium for a few months ago. I have since unsubscribed, so it was just the one payment. But I tried, just for fun, I tried to also get refunded that one. And Apple was like, no, you have not met our like required parameters to get money back as well. I was like, yeah,
It's actually funny. Last year, I somehow ended up with a year subscription to Headspace, that meditation app. I don't know how it happened. I definitely didn't do it. I'm not that committed. I think it's a great app, but I would never have committed to an entire year because what if I get sick of it? But I ended up using it for the most part. But I was also like, I didn't know what to do about it. So I just kind of like lived with it. But then I ended up trying to incorporate it into my daily life. But anyway.
Yeah, the sneaky subscriptions.
Super sneaky.
I am calling out Bumble just because it was a personal thing where I was like, what in the heck? How did this happen? Oh, it was that email. It was that stupid email because I don't get, first of all, any email from any company, even an app I have installed, like quickly gets marked as spam and I never want to hear from them again. Spam, unsubscribe in Gmail 100% of the time. So the emails were coming out of nowhere to do exactly this, to get me to do a little bait and switch on me. But keep your apps in check. Make sure you're not subscribed to things you don't want to be subscribed to. Save your dollars, everybody, or your lira.
Just don't save your pennies, whatever you do. You listen to Sarah. She knows what she's talking about.
Well, save your pennies, but then take them to one of the grocery stores that have the thing.
I love that thing.
So you can get some money out of it.
I don't know. I get kind of giddy. I like it.
How was your week? Were you giddy about saving your pennies, or what's going on?
Yeah, I've been spending a ton of money actually. I need to this month. Now that today is September 1st, is actually kind of perfect because I had spent a ton of money on this gear, which I will talk about a little later in the show. But I'm going to get into those gruesome details. But it's kind of fun. You get a new job and you get this kind of urge to spend, and because there's things that you are broken and you kind of want to upgrade and stuff. But then it's like, okay, I gotta stop doing this. So saving my pennies, and also I wanted to, since I've been alluding to this gig that I've had. Never said anything about what it was. About a month ago, we talked about it, but I was under NDA. It's been confidential. It has been announced to the world. It's not. We are launching a website in October, but I can tell you about it. We actually were just profiled in Vogue magazine for the September issue, so you should check it out. I'm working for Snapchat. A lot of you have probably heard about this company. They have created a product called Spectacles. And they are sunglasses that have cameras in them. So there's a camera on the right side and a camera on the left side. And they're pretty cool looking. They had a version 2. There's been previous versions. This is a very updated version in a lot of ways, in terms of what it can do and how they look. They're really premium looking. They're pretty sophisticated, and they look good on everybody, kind of thing. They come in 2 colors. Well, actually, it's more like metals. They're like, one's black and one's kind of a blackout kind of black, and then the other one's sort of like a rose gold for the ladies. Anyway, I've been out with a bunch of creators shooting with these things, and it's a trip because I'm more of a film camera person. I'm a producer who is used to being with a crew, even if it's a small crew, having a crew. But it's been me and this creator out at the beach or at the Getty, at these, crazy places, shooting sort of what is called stereoscopic imagery, which you can look it up. It's pretty interesting, and I think it's going to be kind of a trend, or maybe it is a trend right now. But they're really neat. They're kind of like Giphies, if you know what a Giphy looks like, a GIF where it has movement, but it creates a depth effect that's pretty cool, like it's augmented reality, if you will. There's a lot more to it. I don't want to get into too many details, but it's actually been kind of fun for me because it's high tech, it's very futuristic, it's different than what I've done in the past, and it's been an interesting learning curve. And a lot of the creators I'm working with are from around the world, so it's going to be fun. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming up the next couple months, so I will keep you posted on all the fun stuff.
It's funny hearing Heather talk about this because on one of my technology programs that I co-host, we talked about Spectacles 3, you know, when it became known to the public. It's different, you know, it's depending on who you talk to. Because, I mean, I've been following the Snap Spectacle story, you know, obviously just from a tech news perspective for some time. There are some limitations.
Oh, yeah.
They're expensive. I mean, I'm not going to get into all the things I find wrong with them because I don't even have a pair. I think they look real nice.
Yeah.
It's a style that's either going to work for you or not.
I agree.
But I am so happy that not only that you're meeting a bunch of cool people and doing some cool stuff, but it's a different kind of production.
It
and
is.
anytime I feel like we learn a little something about how the future's going, and the whole AR thing too is somewhat fascinating, like what's going to stick and what isn't, because it is asking a lot of people to change their creative habits. And you do need to do a bit of that in order for anything of this realm to work. So I am looking forward to more stories from the trenches.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I will definitely bring them to the show.
Sweet. You mentioned that you had been spending money because, of course, you got money coming in because you got a job.
Yep.
And I am also thankful for my gigs that I have, but I am also spending money. And Heather, I will tell you what I'm spending money on, and that is secondhand clothing on Poshmark.com.
Love me some Poshmark.
Oh my gosh!
Wait, do you use the .com? You use it on your? You don't use the app?
I just said it that way.
Oh.
Yes, I have the app downloaded. Although I will say that I mostly am on Poshmark, the web experience.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's just like a tab open on my computer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they work the same way.
Sure.
But it's a little bit more. You just kind of see more at once, right? When you've got a nice big screen. I mean, I'm looking at a 28.
That makes
screen
sense
right now. Yeah. So if anybody is not familiar with Poshmark, it is one of a burgeoning category of sort of secondhand clothing, shop other people's closet meets swap meets junk meets gems. And what I mean by that is if you've got a secondhand store down on Main Street, wherever you may live, you may be like me and be like, I don't want to go in there. It's messy. It's dusty. It's old. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't like thrift. I don't like vintage. It's just like, that's not the life for me. Well, my eyes have been opened to the fact that secondhand clothing is not only cheaper, but often in extremely good condition.
Sure.
And you're just like getting like massive sales on things that you actually want. However, and the thing with Poshmark is, and again, I'm focusing on Poshmark because that's the platform that I just kind of happen to be using the most. But there are quite a few that have pretty similar missions and back ends and user experiences. So, for example, let's say I want a new pair of Adidas sneakers. And I like the Superstar sneakers, right? And they're, I don't know, $85 if I like went to Adidas's website and like bought them new, or Amazon or something. Well, what if, and this is actually a thing that happened to me, what if somebody had those sneakers and they got them delivered to their house and they were perfect in every way, but man, the sizes, they kind of run big. Sizes just slightly too big. But you already wore them outside, so Adidas isn't going to take them back because you got rules for these sorts of things, and you kind of thought maybe they're like not that too big. It'll just be like
I'll just wear some thick socks.
Wear some thick socks. Maybe put an insole in there. Well, no. So I'm actually describing myself. I actually have a pair of Adidas sneakers that size 6, and they look like clown shoes. They're just too big.
I think I was with you the first day you wore them out in the world.
And so what do I do at this point? It's like I'm kind of stuck with them, right? Yeah. So a place like Poshmark is perfect for me. So what I would do is, upload some photos, describe the issue like, okay, they're not like super new right out of the box, but my feet have been in them exactly twice. The bottoms look new, but yeah, they were worn outside. They're like perfect for you if you're a 6.5 or 7 or whatever. And then I would list them for whatever I thought, was like pretty fair, considering that like it's like driving a car off a lot. Like they're going to lose a little bit of value because they're not technically brand new. So I don't know, let's say they were $85. Maybe I sell them for $65. And then you, Heather, might say, I've been looking for these. Awesome. Like I just got like a huge discount that I didn't have to like wait for them to go on sale wherever they originated from. Anyway, so I'm not the person who's selling anything on Poshmark because who's got the time? I'll probably get there. I'm not there yet. The Adidas are just sitting in my closet being sad and big. But I am a purchaser of all sorts of stuff. And what's great about it is like, I'm also a creature of habit. Like when I know I like a certain kind of jeans, I'll just buy them in every color.
Oh, me too.
Because they fit and
Sure.
whatever. I just don't like care about variety that much. If I like a certain sweater or a certain cardigan, get a couple in the color. If I lose something and it was like, man, that was my favorite James Purse shirt, I just want the same one again.
Sure.
Because I loved it and I wish I still had it. So Poshmark has become great for me to like either add to my collection where I'm like, I love this cardigan in black. It'd be so great in gray with like all these other shirts. Great. I can get the same one. And it's like, at times, because there's a little bit bartering involved.
Yeah.
You can offer less than what somebody is asking for, and they can, you can either do a little haggling back and forth,
Or you can buy it outright.
Or you can buy it outright, although why would you ever not try to get it for less?
Yeah.
But anyway, you have a lot of options. Anyway, Poshmark is wonderful, but it falls under the category where it's dangerous because it's like everything's on sale.
Yeah.
And so you have to train your mind to be like, just because something's on sale does not mean you should buy it because you still lose money.
Well, yeah, totally. I mean,
You
then,
have
then
more
you're
money
thinking,
by not participating in this,
this
right?
this is like cheaper, so I'm going to buy it, but it still costs money.
Oh yeah, it's like saying like, oh, I should buy that new computer because I can write it off for taxes. You can't write off the whole thing, girlfriend. You're still paying for something.
This is true.
Anyway, that's my Poshmark addiction. I'm having a good time on it, and I'd be interested to know who else is sort of dabbling in this world. I also co-host and produce another podcast about consignment called It Never Gets Old, where we talk about Poshmark quite a bit. So this is kind of a new thing in my life, and because I'm a bit of a homebody, I love this because, I feel as though unless for some reason I really want that teenage experience, I don't need to go to a mall anymore for anything.
No,
and
I hate
didn't
malls.
really like it anyway. So
I have a closet on Poshmark under Hedaville. If you want to add me, I actually have sold stuff on there. And it's not a big deal. The only thing is like you do have to rush ship stuff because they'll pressure you. Like, of course, the person wants their stuff as soon as possible. And then you're like, oh man, you do have to go to the post office. There's no like real quick way of doing it. You gotta wrap it up and put it in a nice box and everything. But I have sold stuff and it actually is pretty rewarding to actually sell. So I do recommend it. It is it's a little bit of a thing, but yeah, it feels really good because then you're like, someone else is going to enjoy something that I don't really enjoy anymore. And it's sort of like a gift.
Well, and you can there are many reasons. It's like, of course, I just focused on you can get rid of stuff and get a little money back for something that you're not going to wear anymore. Mm-hmm. You can be somebody who buys stuff at a perhaps hefty discount, or at least a little bit of a discount. But at the same time, you're also keeping things in rotation. Mm-hmm. So, when you think about it in the much grander scale, it's like, it's just more sustainable. Mm-hmm. And it's in many ways, the recycling of clothes is just kind of better for all of us. It's a cool
100%.
It's a cool way to think. And the more I get into it, the more I'm like, this just makes sense to me.
I agree.
Because
it's like
half the stuff that I own that I bought new, I spill red wine on it within a week anyway. Like, my stuff is not pristine. Who cares if somebody else wore it?
And it's like, it is a mentality thing because I think for a long time I was like, I don't really like secondhand. I don't like the way it smells or like at a thrift store. But like, it isn't all like that. And once you kind of get something, because I just got a pair of sneakers that I've been looking for a long time on Poshmark, total great find because you don't usually find them in this good condition in my size, in the exact style that I wanted. So I was like totally lucky. But like, there's, you gotta do it. I mean, it's so much more rewarding than just going to the mall. But anyway, this is sort of similar, I guess, but like, and I've talked about this a little bit before, but I wanted to, so I have spent the last couple weeks researching and, Sarah has been, she's had this knowledge of podcasting gear for a lot longer than I have. This is like kind of new territory for me. So we decided to shoot the show remotely because I moved a little further away and it's a lot easier. So I got to get a whole setup. Like I've got to get the same setup that Sarah has or something similar. And so I've been doing all this research and I'm tech savvy. I wouldn't say I'm as tech savvy as Sarah is. But
it's just new. You're just getting up to speed.
Exactly.
That happens with anybody.
I actually, once I get into it and you figure stuff out bit by bit, and then it's rewarding. And then you're like, it pushes you to go further. And I love that. And I love that feeling of learning something new and figuring it out, where you're troubleshooting something and then you do it. And then my camera works, and then my audio works, my mic is working. And anyway, I got really into it. I love the gear that I got. But what helped me get through it, because I have some audio friends, but they're busy people. I didn't want to bug them with it because it's kind of an annoying thing to like constantly be asking questions. And so I spent a lot of time, I bought everything on Amazon. I'm definitely an Amazon Prime girl. But I spent a lot of time speaking with the community and asking questions and getting answers. If you guys have never done that, I think it's the most brilliant thing. I love it so much. And I feel like I was actually dealing with real people who are maybe more amateur, but some of them have studios. They have professional recording studios, and they bought their gear. So they're like talking to me and telling me, giving me advice about my mic stand and about my, my windscreen or whatever it is, my camera. And I literally, a lot of the stuff I knew I wanted to buy, but the stuff that I needed to figure out if it would work for me and my setup, I tapped into the community, and it was pretty amazing. And I just feel so much, it really does feel like a community. I don't know these people. I don't even know where they live, but they're so helpful, and you get answers right away, which impresses me. And I've been really good about answering questions about stuff I buy too. I'm just really into the whole back and forth with it, helping people, them helping me. And there's like little stuff like sponges and like random household things that you buy on Amazon. And I'll like,
what's the community discussion? Well, is this a good sponge?
No, okay. There's these sponges that have they're like smiley face cutouts that I absolutely love. They bring me joy. It's so silly. And so like, stuff like that where I will post a review and people will ask questions, and I really make an effort to like write back and answer their questions, and it brings me joy. So anyway, I want to thank all of my Amazon friends for helping me with my setup, because it was, it's a little bit of trial and error, and there was times when I was scratching my head, but I figured it out, and we are back in the game, and I'm pretty stoked about that. So.
Well, I am too, and I'm glad that you had help, and I know the feeling. I happen to be. Well, you know that I love this stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, anything electronic, I'm like, give it to me broken. I want to fix it. But I know that it is daunting. There's also there's being crippled by choice. Just buying a microphone. How there's like, what kind of microphone should I buy? And I'm like, well, you have a million
more
choices.
Personal. Yeah,
and this is the one that I have, but you don't have to. It's like, it's personal. It's aesthetic,
sure.
It is price. I mean, there's so many variables, so many factors.
Yeah.
So, and I know what you're talking about, Amazon community, and I'm gonna have to spend a little bit more time.
I think
looking
you would
at that
like
stuff.
it. Yeah, I think you would dig it.
But the way that you're describing it to me reminds me of why I use Quora. Why perhaps a variety of
Similar.
Subreddits.
Yeah,
almost anything that you could ever think of and say out of your mouth is some on a subreddit somewhere. But yeah, the kind of hive mind of Q&A and people willing to help. And I will say, in my experience, the AV as an audio video crowd are the best.
Oh, they are,
because everyone knows that it's like there's a lot of tinkering that goes on, particularly with audio, and it can get confusing. And when someone's an expert, they are happy to help because they want to be the hero, myself included.
It's so true.
So it turns into, it's a fun community of like,
really
hey,
fun.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your help.
I totally agree. And I think the only negative of it is getting a lot of these Amazon boxes, and I feel really bad. I really do. Like, I'm putting them in the recycle bin, and I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool if there was some kind of local Amazon, maybe like the Amazon lockers, for example, where say you get a lot of Prime boxes, you're ordering everything off of Amazon. So instead of breaking down the boxes, putting them in the recycle bin, you bring them to the locker so that they can repackage something. Yeah,
they could like go in and take a few boxes. Or something.
Or just you repackage new Amazon stuff in there. Like the Amazon guys take them in the truck, and then they just, because they're perfectly good brand new boxes that are not messed up. Like, there should be a better recycling program for them. Anyway, Amazon, if you're listening, I'll talk to you more about my brilliant idea offline.
Well, we know Amazon's listening. Proud patron of the show.
Speaking of,
Amazon,
actually,
you might want to. You might want to up your monthly. Considering that you're, a corporation and all. Corporations are people. We heard it. We heard it from the politicians themselves. Yeah, Heather, we're mentioning Patreon, so what the heck is that?
Patreon.com/have such a good day is where we live and breathe the show. You should go check it out. We will be unpausing. In fact, we are unpaused at this point because
and that
it does
means
it naturally.
Payments. That we're talking about unpausing payments.
Exactly. So the next cycle, which it happened to be, I think payments went through today, but it's like a monthly thing. So by October, you guys will be paying again. So it's kind of a little off, but anyway, I wanted to, please check us out there. We're also at havesuchagoodday.com, and check out our tiers on Patreon. We've got a couple for you to choose from $1 to, I don't know, there's $1,000 on there. But we are long overdue to add some new ones, and that is something that we're going to pull the trigger on here soon, so stand by for that. But I wanted to do a shout out to some new subscribers that popped on over this last month. Brian Nottingham, he's a $5 patron. Noodles went from $1 to $5 bala.
Whoa, Noodles up in the patron.
Mistral, $5. He's a $5. I don't know if it's a he. I just assume. I don't know. Mistral just sounds like a dude, but it might not be.
Mistral, not to be confused with I don't know. Mistral. There you are.
Yeah. Alex Lasnik is a $5 patron. So welcome, you guys. We're really stoked, and you came on during our pause, but you will have a new show. You'll be listening to it right now as I speak.
That was actually kind of motivating for us, where we were like, cool, we have some new patrons.
Yeah.
Where you might have been listening or watching the show this entire time, but you decided to come on board even during our tumultuous dark period.
And honestly, it's that email that pops into our inbox with the little ta-da emoji. And it's like this ASMR thing for me. It just really makes me happy. So thanks, guys. We're really stoked to have you. And again, we're restarting everything. So we should start having more media going up and more fun stuff. So
everything, the machine cranks ahead. We replaced our batteries.
We did.
Finally.
That's kind of what it feels like. It's like we got knocked around, like got the dust off and rewired some things,
ready to go. So if you like the show, please consider becoming a patron. It's how we keep the show going, and quite frankly, we need more of you. So if you know somebody who might like the show and maybe hasn't heard of us and could become a patron, we really appreciate you getting the word out, and rating us in your favorite podcast is also helpful as well.
100%. Thanks, guys. I've said that like 5 times this show. I gotta come up with some more words.
Thanks, guys and gals, and people who don't identify with a gender, all of y'all. So no matter your gender or lack of wanting to talk about it, we all need sleep. Some of us need more than others, but sleep is a thing that humans need.
Oh boy, yes.
If you happen to be non-human listening or watching the show, I want to know what you are, but I'm just going to assume that you're a human. So, and I've talked about this ad nauseum on the shows, that I have had not a lifetime of insomnia, because it never used to be an issue until I was an adult, but on and off for decades, I have had intermittent sleep problems. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I sleep really well. Sometimes I don't. I know what helps. Vigorous exercise. I run almost every day because it feels good and I want to be in shape, but also because I know that, like, if I expel enough energy, I sleep better. And if I don't, I won't. It's just the way it goes. It makes sense. And it has a lot to do with stress and the food I eat and all sorts of stuff. Well, as everyone who is familiar with our show knows, Heather and I love our vino, love the wine. Yes. and what I had suspected for some time, and this is like, it's a known thing that alcohol can disrupt sleep patterns. Now, if you have like a small amount of alcohol and you're staying hydrated and you're eating right and you're exercising, it's like, that's not necessarily going to be like, well, now you're never going to be able to sleep. You should just be sober for the rest of your life. Maybe for some people, yes, but for most people, not a huge issue. But I started to think like, so what's going on here? Because I would notice that even if it wasn't in the form of wine, if there was something that was sugary, because I don't really eat a lot of sugar, but sometimes there's just kind of sugar in stuff that doesn't necessarily taste really sweet. Yeah, I started to, it was kind of, I didn't really have a physical food journal, but I was making enough of notes of what I was ingesting and being able to link it to bad nights of sleep where I was like, it's the sugar. And it's not sugar like, oh, you just can't eat ice cream right before bed. It would be like any time in that 24-hour period or even a couple of days before kind of thing, I would start to notice it in bad sleep. Sort of the way someone's like, oh, if I eat chocolate, I might break out a couple of days later, right? We're all different.
Yeah.
So for the last month, it's funny because we haven't been doing the show. So I've been like, oh, I can't wait to talk about it on the show. I have been just like no wine. I don't really have dessert in my house anyway, but making a real concerted effort to be like, ooh, yeah, that maple syrup, I'm going to use something else instead, or I'm going to eat something else. And I'll tell you, my sleep is better.
Wow.
It's the sugar. And I again say this as somebody who I eat a lot less sugar than a lot of my peers. So I'm just super sensitive. And I don't know if this is kind of a weird allergy or sensitivity that's developed over time. Because I used to eat a ton of sweets and I just, kind of lost the taste for dessert.
I mean, I think it's definitely, there is a sugar allergy. You should look that up. That's a legit thing.
Yeah.
It's funny because I definitely have a sweet tooth. I mean, I prefer savory, but I definitely, after I eat something savory, I want like a piece of chocolate or something. And I let myself. I eat sugar every day. I don't eat a ton, but I do eat it. And I definitely sleep like a baby almost every night. I'm lucky. I'm a good sleeper. And so sugar doesn't, if I eat it right before I go to bed, then it might keep me up because chocolate has caffeine in it.
It's like little kids hyper.
But like even if I eat it at like 8:30 or 9, I'm usually okay. Like I can sleep really well still, but it does affect me in other ways. I try to cut down on sugar as much as possible. Refined sugar in particular. I really try to just eat dark chocolate and I try not to eat other stuff. But occasionally I want a gummy worm or, I don't know, an ice cream cone. I've been really into ice cream lately. But yeah, I get it, man. Sleep is so critical and I'm so lucky that's never been a problem for me. But I have other problems. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and it's funny because and again, everyone's different. Like, I have friends who drink an espresso after dinner, and it's like I would be like, you might as well give me methamphetamine.
Absolutely, like that would
I will
kill
not
me.
sleep.
Oh yeah,
but some people, that like sensitivity is just it's such wild ranges, right? Love my coffee, but it has to be in the morning or I'm done for.
Yeah.
And I think, with sugar, it's like, luckily I don't have as much of a sweet tooth. If I had more of a sweet tooth, I feel like, this would feel like a constant diet.
Yeah, you're lucky
right?
that you don't have a sweet tooth. That's great.
Well, the thing is, though, is that I know how to not have one. And how to not have one means I don't have ice cream in my freezer.
Yeah.
I don't have cookies in my cupboard. Because I don't have self-control once that stuff is like within the confines of my home and I don't have to answer to anybody.
Yeah.
Like it just goes. Like if I bought a bag of Oreos, I would eat the bag of Oreos. The Oreos don't stay another day in my house. So I know I have the willpower to not go to the grocery store and buy them. I have that willpower.
Yeah, no.
If it's in my, the four walls of Chez Sarah, then we have a problem. So that's how it works.
It's also an addiction. So like the more sugar I eat, then I want it the next day. But if I don't eat sugar, I lose the taste for it. And I think that's a huge thing. It's like, sugar, if you eat sugar, it makes you want to eat more sugar. Like that's what an addictive thing is. But anyway.
I read somewhere, and I don't know, if I'm passing on bad information or if it was something I read in a medical journal, but something about physiological habits, right? Like, an addiction to sugar, whatever. It's like a 21-day expelling process, right? Like psychologically, that's a whole different thing, or if somebody's, cutting down on, like drugs or whatever, it's like, I'm kind of just talking about like the easy stuff. But that it's like, it's a solid 3 weeks to like even be able to say, okay, now we're kind of back at zero again.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can reintroduce because your body is going to be craving it in kind of weird ways for that period of time. But I had that in the back of my mind where I was like, okay, well, let's call it a month-ish.
Yeah.
let's just do this for a month and be really try to just be very cognizant of how it's all going. And I'll say I was also exercising super hard because I wasn't drinking wine at night, so I felt all the more better.
It's great.
But yeah, but it's I'm cracking the code here, Heather, and
I love it.
I have slept better than I have probably in years.
That's great. That's amazing. I'm so glad that you've cracked this code, because this has been a thing that's been going on for a long time. And I have other friends who have. I have a good friend who has probably worse sleeping issues than you do. And I don't know if it's sugar, but you're right. Everyone's different. You have to sort of test things out. And that's the thing with all these allergies and these potential things that are detrimental to your system. You have to cut it out for such a period of time to see if that's that's the thing that's hard is. Anyway, that's another conversation for another time. But I wanted to talk about something that I think that you will have a lot to say. I think this is definitely something we've talked about a little bit on the show. But yeah, I've been taking kind of a break from Instagram and from Patreon. I mean, we haven't been posting things, like I haven't been taking as many photographs. I haven't really been on Instagram very much at all. And I feel like the reason why I chose to get off of Instagram is, I don't know, I feel like everything just feels kind of like repetitive and overdone for me. Maybe it's me, I don't know, but I feel like there's partially, there's more people on the planet than we've ever had ever. And naturally things get repetitive and derivative because it's harder to have like original stuff like in your feed and that kind of thing. And then I came across this article on The Cut. It's called Meet the Unfluencers. So this is not the influencers, but the unfluencers. And this girl, this journalist was talking about how influencers have kind of ruined things for her. And there was like sort of a heated conversation down below in the comment section. I thought it was kind of interesting. But, for me, I feel like social media used to be very novel. And now it feels kind of is in a played out phase. And again, this could totally be me. But like, yeah, I really enjoyed the super bloom when it happened. And then now it's like I had to untag it because it was the most annoying thing ever.
You're talking about people taking pictures in front of a lot of flowers.
And and then like it was a beautiful thing originally. I actually took some photographs with me in front of them, or someone did. And but that I can't stand it now. It's like it's been ruined. But something that I loved now is like ruined. And the irony is that influencers are promoting something. Usually they're probably getting paid so that it will sell, so that people will be interested in owning this product. It's funny, the people, when that happens on Instagram, it annoys me so much that it makes me not want to buy it, which I think is sort of ironic because the whole point is to sell your product. But yeah, it's so interesting. And it made me really think about kind of, how this one comment I thought was pretty cool. This guy says, as the years go on and all the content blurs together into one big millennial blob, his tolerance for people posting the same shit over and over again has dropped. And honestly, a lot of people were commenting on how friends, really good friends, they have had to unfollow really good friends because they can't stand what they post. They love the people, but they're over posting whatever they're over posting. They're over bragging or whatever, and they have to unfollow them to still be their friend because, I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if you've had.
That's nothing new.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
That's part of social media. It brings out the best and the worst.
Yeah.
And some people, I always say this, it's like some people in IRL, I like very much, and they're horrible on social media.
Yeah.
And not everybody probably thinks they're horrible, but it's not working for me. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I do all sorts of like passive aggressive things. Some of it is just like silently stewing inside my own head. And sometimes it's like, okay, you're still my Facebook friend, but I've unfollowed you, but you don't know that. So it doesn't matter.
Totally.
On Instagram, you won't get a notification. So if I unfollow you, like you'd have to like really care to like even notice that. And you probably don't. Mm-hmm. And like, hopefully by that point, like you've like faded out of my life anyway. So yeah, there is no one size fits all way to go about social media. And that's why some people are like, they've always got the good Twitter zingers. And you're like, oh, this person's so funny. And it's like, you can kind of create this persona for yourself. I don't really know what mine is, but I'm with you. I find that it is a tool. It is fun, but it's also a time suck, and sometimes it makes me want to claw somebody's eyes out.
Yeah, it does. In fact, it's funny. It reminds me, I just watched, I've been going through a whole David Cronenberg phase, which I've mentioned on Discord. I just watched Videodrome. It's from 1983, and it's all about how media kind of, it doesn't, kind of become the media, like you sort of get like swallowed by it. And one of the quotes from it is kind of like the TV is the retina of the mind's eye. And in it, it's interesting because this is 1983. This is pre-Twitter. One of the guys says, we will all give ourselves names, which was alluding to like, Twitter names and monikers and that kind of thing. So it's interesting. If you watch that movie, you will realize that there was a lot of like, sort of premonition foreshadowing about the future. Is pretty interesting. Yeah, so I'm going to go back on Instagram. I miss it in a weird way too. But yeah, that's kind of why I took a break. And but it is what it is. You can't go back, right? You kind of have to go forward. So you kind of have to find peace in it.
Yeah, well, you can't go back to a world without all this stuff.
You can
disengage if you want to, and then you'll miss things, and that might be worth it for you, and it might not. It's what you make of it. But
exactly.
I agree. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to look at an app right now, and I'm not going to, and I'm not going to feel pressured to like be part of that part of society because I'm just not going to.
I actually I went on a hike the other night for over an hour, and I left my phone at home, and it felt really good. It was kind of great. It was like
I do that all the time.
Yeah, it was quite extraordinary how it felt. Anyway, I want to go through some emails, and I want to go through a few more than usual because we got a few in this last month. What are you laughing at? Are you laughing at me? The sweat falling down my brow because
I like how it sounds like it's like you're like a teacher. I'm gonna go through a few emails.
Okay,
and
everybody,
it's gonna be a few more than last time.
Sit down.
Like, oh God,
and listen.
how many emails are we gonna go through?
Not that many. But okay. I am boiling hot. I'm still have to figure out some of my. It's about 90 degrees today, maybe 95 actually. So it's very hot in my house. So I'm kind of getting warm here.
We can go through these
take
emails
turns
so you don't spontaneously post.
So Jake Adams, he was responding to us taking a pause, and he said, "I totally understand. This Coast Guard doesn't leave his post. Look forward to the triumphant return, and wish you both a most prosperous time."
Oh, thanks,
Super
Jake.
sweet.
Really glad to have you still on our Coast Guard. We're a proud Army.
We really are.
A bunch of nautical nitwits.
And what about Moses?
Yeah, Moses Hernandez also commenting on the fact that we were doing a little pause. Said, "Take your time, ladies. Can't wait for what's to come. Thank you, Moses. Really appreciate your support. You the best."
The best. David Ackers sent us a message. He said that he's a big fan from the beginning, but for some reason he didn't add Patreon until now. So he's gone back and listened to all the bonus topics, and they're just as great as the rest of the show. Thanks, David.
Very cool. Finally, Brian Nottingham, new patron, said, "Love the show. My wife and I just finished Sharp Objects based on your recommendation. Watching Succession now, also based on your recommendations." Oh my God, Succession is my life.
Me too.
Fire up payments whenever you see fit, if you take some time off. If only we had a paid vacation option, Brian. But hey, a girl can dream. Still catching up on back episodes on number 14 now. Be blessed. Brian, no, episode 14 was so long ago. Boy, do you have a lot of stuff to uncover.
I know, it's so fun. I'm gonna throw in one more. Mistral, who's one of our new patrons, he wrote us a kind of a long email, but I'll truncate it for you. But he did say that he's from London. He's married and has a kid. He knows that we enjoy reading fan email, so he wanted to give us a little story. But he did first discover you, Sarah, while listening to Twit. With the one with Martin Sargent. It was short-lived, but very funny.
This Week in Fun.
Yeah. And then given the different environment in which we live, some of the discussions you were having result in major eye rolling on my side. However, I find you both quite funny and down to earth, which is super refreshing in this day and age of fake news and fake people. I find your show to be an oasis of calm, relaxation, and genuine entertainment in the sea of daily stress. So yes, thank you for the good work and keep it on, and the best to both of you. So I wanted to it's funny, a couple things. That's our hope, is that we can bring you a sense of calm and maybe us sort of talking about the things that you can relate to brings you a little bit of joy. It does for us. That's great. I'm so happy to hear that it does, at least for him. And also the eye rolly stuff. Sarah and I talk about this offline a lot. We really, really hope that there's a minimal amount of eye rolling, but we understand that there is on certain things. And, we apologize in advance for that. Sometimes I think we all can get kind of caught up in our little bubbles. And I'm sure we sound like little spoiled brats sometimes or something. I don't know what it is, but maybe Sarah, you could speak to it a little bit.
We're bougie white girls, Heather. That's what we are. Now, and I'm actually, Mistral, I'm actually glad you brought this up because it is something that Heather and I talk about. And often, and this would be the case for anybody who does enough kind of this type of work has probably been through this. In the moment, sometimes, and Heather and I, we don't really, we have loose ideas of what we want to talk about, but this is really us kind of shooting from the hip.
Sure.
And so there's not like scripted stuff, and we're really being ourselves. And sometimes when I listen to something back, for the most part, I love our show because I'm like, I love, two friends hanging out. I love Heather. It's like, now I'm listening to a conversation I enjoyed the first time. And sometimes I go, yeah, I didn't like the way I sounded. Not like my volume level or anything, but the way I might have told a story or an opinion I might have had. I kind of go, as an outsider, as a third party, Sarah sounds a little off. And it kind of helps me keep myself in check. And I appreciate constructive criticism.
We so do.
Because we all need that. And Heather and I really welcome it. And that's cool. And I know that you said I really in a nice way. Like, you're not like, oh my God, this show's the worst. Or you wouldn't be listening or watching.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's
good feedback.
It's a good reminder, that people come from a lot of different angles, and we're celebrating the fact that we are who we are, and sometimes we do play that up a little bit, but it's we want to be well-rounded as well.
We do. We want to talk about things that if we get too much on one side of the spectrum, let us know, and we'll be like, because sometimes we don't notice it until after the fact, and we want to make sure we're
it just if you were a friend, you might say, you know what, Sarah, you're kind of like doing this thing lately, and you might want to kind of think about it. Just be a friend.
Exactly.
Let us know. And if you like something, same thing. But for now, Heather, I think what we should do is give our patrons and people who might be patrons soon a chance to absorb what we have told them and sign off for now.
I love
it's good to be back.
Yes, and I need to take a second shower, or maybe it's a third shower.
Yeah, I'm not gonna gloat about how well my AC works in here right now, because if my windows were open, it would be very hot in this house as well.
I'm so jealous. Oh man.
Well, don't be jealous because I gotta pay for it later.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We're so stoked to be back, and $5 patrons and above, please stick around. We're gonna have a bonus topic real quick here.
Yeah, like in 2 seconds.
Like 2 seconds, you guys.
As soon as we say goodbye, we'll just keep going. For everybody else, we will see you, or we won't see you, but you'll hear us.
You'll see us.
You'll either see and hear us, or you'll just hear us. We don't care. Just do it. Or watch us on mute. That's fine, too. A little weird, but fine. And thanks for sticking with us. We're back, baby. Episode 53 in the can. Until next time, I'm Sarah.
I'm Heather.
And have such a good day.
Bye.